Today we're diving into the wonderful world of the exploratory essay. What makes this type of writing so cool is that it's less about having all the answers and more about asking the right questions. Think of it as a journey. You're not just explaining your point of view, but you're actively exploring multiple perspectives on an issue. By the end of this presentation, you'll feel ready to start brainstorming on your own and figure out what you want to discuss for your essay one. Let's get started. All right, so what's the deal with the exploratory essay? The key here is to keep the problem open, kind of like keeping an open mind. Imagine you're looking at a diamond. You turn it and the light catches different angles, and that's what we're doing with these topics in an exploratory essay. You start with a question, identify a possible solution or viewpoint, weigh out the pros and cons, and then move on to another perspective. This way, you're not just locked into one way of thinking. Keep asking yourself, what's another way to approach this? This method is what makes exploratory writing such a great exercise in critical thinking. Now it's time to practice a little. Think about the writing prompt or topic you've chosen. If you haven't already, we'll get to it soon. Ask yourself, what's one possible solution or point of view on that issue? Take a moment to consider its strengths, what makes it compelling, but also think about its weaknesses, what's missing or what might not work. For example, if you're writing about the rise of electric cars, one point of view might be that they're great for reducing emissions, but a weakness could be that the environmental cost of battery production is harmful to our planet. This exercise is all about zooming in and out to get a fuller picture. Now let's take it a step further. What's another possible solution or point of view? For our electric car example, you might explore hybrid cars as a middle ground solution. What are the pros of hybrids? They might be more accessible in certain areas. What are the cons? Maybe they're still reliant on fossil fuels. Think of this as an interesting way to look at various issues. Are you feeling conflicted about which perspective feels right? Well, that's a good thing. Writing an exploratory essay means embracing the gray areas. It's okay to sit with that tension. That's where the learning happens. Now let's talk about the process, because this isn't a one and done kind of essay. The key is to create tension between alternative views. Why? Because the tension forces you to think deeper and analyze harder. As you write, you're not just presenting the facts. You're using the essay to think through the problem. It's like having a conversation with yourself. What about this? Oh, but then there's that. By the end, you've not only explored the topic, but you already discovered new insights. Writing becomes a journey of inquiry and discovery. So what makes someone good at writing exploratory essays? First, they treat the anchor question as a real problem worth digging into. This means they don't just skim the surface. They consider alternative views and play them off each other. They also use specific examples and illustrations to make their points more vivid. And maybe most importantly, they stay curious. They don't stop thinking until they've synthesized the different perspectives into something meaningful. Think of it as if you're a detective. You follow every clue until you find something worth saying. Let's zoom in on essay one. For this assignment, your goal isn't to solve a problem. It's to dwell on it, unpack it, and explore why it's complicated. Choose a topic that truly perplexes you, something that you can't stop thinking about. Engage your readers by making them feel your curiosity. If you're confused or torn, let that come through in your writing. The more real and personal your engagement with the problem, the more likely your readers will be hooked. They'll want to follow you through your thought process because it feels genuine. Now, let's break down the details of essay one so you feel ready to tackle it. The goal of this essay is to explore an issue by understanding and explaining the range of viewpoints on it. Think of it as joining a conversation that's already happening. You're not just here to take sides, argue, or convince anyone. Your job is to research, explain, and reflect on the different perspectives that exist around this topic. Let's check out the prompt together. So the length for this essay is 1,400 to 1,500 words. That is not counting the works cited. You need at least 3 credible sources, with 2 from the Cypress College Library database. Format, MLA guidelines, Times New Roman, pretty standard. Now your essay should have an introduction. This will lay out the issue, provide background, and maybe end with a delayed thesis. The body paragraphs will summarize and synthesize different perspectives. How do they connect or conflict? And your conclusion will reflect on what you've learned and how the perspectives shaped your understanding. Keep in mind, this is not a persuasive essay. You're not here to argue or take a stance, not yet at least. Instead, focus on explaining and reflecting on what others have said about your topic. Finally, if you're unsure about your topic, sources, or structure, please don't hesitate to reach out. And remember, while you don't need to submit a rough draft, I'm happy to give you feedback on one if you'd like. Lastly, be sure to check out the specific due dates in our prompt directly on Canvas. Talk to you guys later.